I'm sure you are familiar with the famous thought experiment, the trolley problem. Imagine a runaway train heading towards 5 workers on a railway, and you're operating a lever that can divert it. The problem is, there is 1 worker on that second track. Would you pull the lever and sacrifice 1 life to save 5? Now, imagine instead of a lever or a train, it was an artificially intelligent, self-driving vehicle. Is artificial intelligence capable of determining the best course of action in this case? In today's society, AI has played a huge role in augmenting the lives of people. As computers develop the ability to think as we think, it is important to consider the moral and ethical repercussions of its implementation. But what really is AI, and how does it work?
Artificial intelligence, or AI, relies on a few key processes. In simple terms, AI accepts data in the form of speech, text, and images. Then the system processes this by applying complex algorithms that act on a given input. Finally, the AI uses the data and algorithms to identify patterns, make predictions, and recommend further action, just like a human would. As a result, AI produces more accurate outcomes, avoids human error, and gives us more time to focus on tasks that require more complex and creative thinking. However, we must ask ourselves, how can we determine to what extent should we allow AI to behave? And how can we know if it's gone too far, if it hasn't already?
As we discussed before with the trolley problem, AI technology can pose significant moral and ethical issues. Imagine if, instead of the trolley, the AI-powered car is faced with a similar dilemma. How will it decide between swerving away from children but injuring its riders, and protecting its riders but crashing into the kids? What should the car do in this situation, and how will it determine its decision? Is it simply a balance of probability? And who is responsible for this decision? Is it the creator? Perhaps the data, or lack thereof, that was fed into the system? Or is it the AI itself? Maybe the car was sentient? Maybe the car felt a connection with its riders and wanted to protect them instead. Recently, an engineer at Google has claimed that its AI, LaMDA, is sentient. Despite there being no scientific evidence of such a claim, this beckons the question, how do we define sentience, and where do we draw the line when it comes to AI displaying human-like behaviours? As you can see, the world of AI still has a lot of unanswered questions. But this is where you come in. You might think that AI has nothing to do with you, but the reality is quite the opposite. AI's future isn't set in stone. It can either be extremely beneficial, or it can be a huge detriment to our society. The advancement of AI needs your help to determine the path this technology ultimately takes.
Machine intelligence is the last invention that humanity will ever need to make, but only if we use it correctly.
Created using Powtoon.